Arknights Endfield is finally out. What we have here is a game that, quite frankly, plays nothing like a lot of the more popular and mainstream gacha games, despite copying a lot of those elements from it. And what we have here is a game that it certainly appeals to me, but I am curious just how many other people this game is going to work for. It is many years in the future from the events of the first Arknights, and we are now the administrator for Enfield Industries. And get ready to hear the words admin and administrator in almost every other sentence when people talk to you. This company has gone to Talos 2 in order to see the original evil super cancer magic causing rock originium to this planet. And surprise, surprise, something bad has happened. It's going to be up to us and a team of up to 4 very diverse and, of course, different color-coded characters in order to solve the mysteries of the game. The story is a little bit on the mess side, at least at the start. So tell me if you've heard this one before. You play Amnesiac, who wakes up to having to save the world, and of course every major character either loves you or fawns all over you. I'm used to everyone being at least neutral to hating you at the start, like we saw with Limbus Company. And there are running bets right now on social media as to whether or not there's going to be a major rug pull moment in Enfield. I'm just going to say that in terms of the story, that at some point, if they don't kill a very popular and amazing character in a brutal and tragic way, then the story just doesn't work. And before anyone yells at me, I'm just a messenger in this respect for people who've played Arknights. As for our gameplay, it certainly goes into a lot of different places. So at the basic point, this is an open world action RPG. If you've played any of the MiHoYo games, Wuthering Waves, that particular style, then you should be very familiar with this. Now, one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is that I do miss not starting with like some really crazy and interesting movement tech to get around. Some answers do come up that we'll talk about later on in this video, but at the start you're just going to be running from point A to point B. The world is vast, filled with collectibles, more collectibles, main missions, side missions, bonus missions. Did I mention collectibles? And of course lots of treasure chests for you to open that will earn you some bonus resources and some of your kind of account level experience. Combat again is right out of the Genshin textbook. As I said, you have a party of 4 characters. Characters are categorized based on their elemental type and their class. And you'll be able to mix these parties up however you see fit, but a big point of the game is setting up for combo moves. Each character has kind of a combo prerequisite. The most common one is to hit the enemy with a specific element, or trigger an elemental burst, which is when you hit an enemy who's always suffering from one elemental base attack with a different kind. Every character also gets a special move, and of course a super flashy ultimate. And progression in this respect is going to be built on you leveling them up, getting new weapons, and of course upgrading them as well as new talents. And this is just okay. Again, if you've played any action game, any kind of dodge-based title, you should be very familiar with what you're going to be doing here. Now, we haven't talked a lot about kind of the gacha. And the gacha itself, to be blunt, is horrible. It uses a 0.08% chance of you getting a 6-star, which is down from the 2% base chance in the original Arknights. But to compensate, the game features a hard pity at 120 pools. That is 60,000 of the game's currency. If you get that, and you roll on any limited banner, you are guaranteed to get that character. And this game does feature a weapon banner as well. Now, the weapon banners in this one are a bit more generous. As a point of clarification, I did spend money to see how much it would cost me to get the starting limited character, the Surtur not Surtur character, and I went all the way to Pity. And then right after that, I did 110 pull on her weapon banner, got it on the very first try. So make of that what you will. Now, one issue that I do see with the character designs is that because it's following with the Genshin kind of template, it kind of lacks the same wow factor of getting new characters in Arknights, where you have them that can completely break the rules of their class, do all kinds of amazing and cool and interesting things. As I'm recording this right now, the 6th anniversary event is going on. They just introduced Hoshiguma's Altar. That is just a really great version of that character and kind of breaks the tank class or defender class. And I don't know if we're going to see anything of that here. As another point, I do wonder just how many wallets will die if they try to bring back Kulsik at some point in Enfield. Like I said, the base level, this is something that we've already seen countless times. And I know some of you are going to be playing this game because you want to see anime women running around and fawning over the main character. Or maybe you just want to see me pull on a weapon banner and get the character's ultimate weapon in one 10 pull. And to those people I say meh. The real reason that I'm playing Enfield is there's something even more addictive. The sweet, sweet joy of automation and factories. And this gets us to Enfield's unique and we could say debatable major selling point based on who you're talking to. Everything that we've talked about is built on top of an automation system. The automation in Enfield kind of falls more in line with that of the Anno series. You will place mining and harvesting machines down the world. They will farm those nodes until the sun dies. Resources will then be transported to your main factory. Each one of the game's major areas has one designated factory spot. This is where you can build out all your machinery, your assembly lines, your conveyor belts, sorters, and mixers, and everything else that you come to know and love. And this is where it gets very interesting. The factory system kind of feeds into world progression and character progression in several ways. All the healing and special items you can use during combat have to be produced in your factories. You can also equip and construct gear. Now, the gear in Enfield is different from the weapons. Every character has a unique weapon, as I said. That's part of the kind of gacha banner. But there is standard and set gear that unlocks as you level up. And this raises their base stats further, and obviously it's going to be a big point of progression. In order to do that, you must set up the kind of automation in the factories to produce the materials needed for that. And it goes even further. You see, another big aspect of Enfield is setting up the different settlements. Just how each area has a factory, they each have a settlement. The settlements will acquire different goods. By helping them out, you'll earn kind of valley bucks. And yes, there are plenty of currencies in this game. The valley bucks are used directly for improving the world and progressing in that respect. And you can only earn that through the settlement system. As you expand the settlements, you'll be able to earn more money. They'll require more and more goods. It's very similar to that of kind of the city levels, once again returning to Anno. And then on top of all this, there's a tower defense mode, as your settlements will require defending from the various baddies. If you save them, they'll give you more money, and if you can completely save them without having to use your operators, you get a permanent bonus. So it leads into this very, at least for me, engaging loop of explore the world, do a few missions, then start setting up automation, get those resources back, build my factory, to then get more stuff, to then once again go back out and do it all over again. And I haven't even really touched your kind of home base / mothership, which works as kind of the base in Arknights, in terms of additional features, additional resources that can work with that, and it has its own upgrade path and things you can do over there. And as another very interesting point, the game also feels very similar to that of Death Stranding, in that you can set up buildings and other structures in the world itself, and with this being an online game, other people's structures can show up. The two most common ones are going to be defense towers set up where enemies are going to spawn that just takes them out for you. And then the other very more important one are zip lines. You can set up zip lines in almost any flat surface, and they will allow you to basically have a local form of fast travel. This will allow you to quickly get to the rarer resources that you need for weapon and character upgrades, and will help you when it comes to earning more Valley Bucks. Because as you get further in, you'll also unlock another mode that requires you to ship goods from different locations in order to get a huge influx of money. And then that money, once again, can be fed back into your factory system, allowing you to expand the space, add more places where you can send and receive goods, and it quickly will turn to this massive sprawl. And to the developers' credits, it does feel a little bit complicated at the start, but if you're an automation fan, it will quickly become second nature to you. And I like how seamlessly the game sets up to allow you to save blueprints. So you can copy a loadout that you've set up, and then you can just plant that anywhere else. And it is very easy, as long as you're in kind of the factory where your region-wide stash is, to quickly assemble any buildings and other manufacturing items you need in order to get your automation going. It's a very weird kind of economy in this game. Because, like I said, there are people who are going into this game thinking that it's just going to be another open world gacha. Maybe they're going into this expecting Arknights 2. For me, I see this as just anime girls meets Anno, which there could be a $1 trillion idea there. And the game certainly works for me. But herein lies, I think, the question/problem for Enfield. Where is it going to go in the future? Right now, I am enjoying this game, but I'm spending more time thinking about my factories and getting the automation going than I am really caring about who the next 6-star operator is and what special abilities are going to bring, because all of that is separate from the factory building. You can't use like operators in your factories. There's no 7-star conveyor belts or 8-star refiners in this game. And I would love to see more of that. I want to see more of the factory automation side. But there's already debates on social media as to whether or not that stuff should be downplayed. And if it does get downplayed or even just outright removed at some point, that's going to be the death nail in Enfield for me. And it reminds me in a way that this doesn't feel like a good mobile game, in that the gameplay and the systems present here feel more in line with that for like a PC or console launch. And again, to be clear, Enfield did launch on all the major platforms globally. And in a strange way, Enfield reminds me of Snowbreak Containment. That was the anime girl meets Tom Clancy's Division style of shooting. And Snowbreak was originally only launched on mobile. And the mobile scene or the mobile space doesn't really work that well for third-person cover shooting. At least it didn't work for me with my giant hands on my small phone. And the game found new life when it was eventually brought to PC. It also found even more light when they really embraced the horniness, but that's a story for another day. But as I said, if you're going into this expecting just either another Arknights or another take on Genshin, Wuthering, and so on, you're going to be disappointed. There's a very specific audience for Enfield. The person who wants to set up factories and then go out and do a little hack and slashing to then get the resource to build more factories and then go out and do it all again. And for me, that's where I want to see this game go. But for you watching this, and especially if you are a fan of Arknights, where do you want to see Enfield go? Because I think we're going to have very different thoughts on this. So, for me, I'm enjoying this game. It is compelling, but I do wonder what this game is going to look like in 6 months to a year's time. Whether or not it's going to focus more on those sweet conveyor belts and logistics, or is it just going to be a case of them trying to amp everyone up about the newest 6-star? And who knows, maybe they'll be like a super limited feeder machine at some point, which I don't even want to begin to imagine how that could work. So Enfield was played completely on my own. There was no sponsorship or press keys associated with it. If you did play this one, I'm curious what you thought of it, and what do you think is going to be the big rug pull moment if they do something like that with the story? If you're new to the YouTubing stuff, be sure to check out the Discord and Patreon, and if you'd like to see me play more of Enfield on the stream here, be sure to let me know. And with that, be sure to get back to all your anime girl weapon collecting, and then build a few more factories in my honor. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and if you're interested in more in my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.